guys, Johnny and Mr. Forex Fire. So what we're going to do, we're going to go and head into the Discord first of all and see which alerts came off through the week before I do my weekly reset. Okay, we're just going to share the screen here. Let's go into the Discord itself. And we'll start with we'll go over the two main strategies that we use. Okay, we'll do the fire sessions first of all, which is a daily session based strategy before we jump into the fire zones. Okay, so the results this week on the fire sessions, we had a -1, a -1, and then we had a 2%. So I'm just going to update the guys in here on this, which put in here the time. And we'll just put in here, we ended up with a break even, which is 0%, which is fine. We'll do this on here. We'll grab this. Break even week. So we're still on that. Okay. We will come back down. Grab this bit, just so we know we are fencing off that week. And then also we come into here, copy the image, and then we do new week, new goals. So we've got that started for next week. So that's the fire session. So again, the fire sessions is very successful. I guess since the 17th of March, we've grown it by 134%. We are working upon an ETA for this, which will be getting tested primarily on the gold at the moment. But for the test to go through, I need to see it live working on gold. We had it coded since last week. However, the gold, it hadn't produced or set up a live setup since I had it finished and coded. So we go into next week trying that, okay? With the zone alerts, the fire zones that I do, we had three more or less setups, okay? So we'll go over the results on those. We can see on here, we had the CAD-JPY, we had a 2%, and then it came back and hit the sort of entry. So we would have been out at a break even, but you could have banked up to 2%. Okay, so we're just going to put in here, we'll add a 2. And then we had the Euro GBP, we had 1.21 and a 1.9. So we'll just add those together, plus 1.21 plus a 1.9. That's given us 511. Again, on the triggers, we did have a CAD-JP odd NZD. I don't think we entered this one because let's go and take a look. Odd NZD. Oh yes, the odd NZD was a fire swing, which was on a monthly. I was waiting for entries to come back to maybe here, to be fair, and we didn't quite get that. So we'll leave this coming in. So we only have a couple of fire zones to reset. Okay, so first of all, we're going to come into the Euro GBP, and you can see in here we had the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 15-minute liquidity. 5-minute is the entry, and to be fair, we are heading down towards the TP3, which will be a 3.44. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to leave this one live. I'll not reset this one. We'll see if we'll get this through the week. The CAD-JPY, however, we can reset because price did come back and it would have tapped us back out at the break even after hitting the 2%. So we'll reset this one and then we'll go and look at the full zones and we'll see where we are. Okay, so the process that I normally do on a reset, I'll just reset everything that's on there. Okay, and then we'll look at the liquidity areas based upon the 4-hour supply and demand. Okay, so what we can see at the minute is we are creating a bit of a channel. Okay, we're channeling up, so there is an uptrend on this. So when I look for a draw on liquidity, I can see inside of the channel we have lows here. We tend to have a block on this area here as well. We understand that we are higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So this area here would be an area of interest for me. Okay. Underneath that, the drawn liquidity underneath this is that liquidity line there. It's like a low. If price decided it was going to sort of come down and break through these areas, okay, retest here, then we would possibly come down to this low. Okay. So again, like I say, I'm just marking out areas of formed interest, and inside the high, high, higher, low, higher, high, okay, we could be starting to come back down to make a higher low. Will we take out these? Well, there's every chance we could do because we also have a fair value gap there, which is being tapped once. So if we minimize that, there is fair value here. And at the same time, we've got the order block just underneath. Okay, so again, on the buy side of it, we've got inside channel buy side liquidity here, but also obviously this trend, the trend on the channel, there is space for this to still come up, tap through this and sweep this top end before it wants to come down. Okay, so that's the sort of thing I'm looking at the minute. Movement wise, we've got where the price closed, we've got around 100 pips up to about, say, 35 pips. Okay, so my preference would more or less be along here and inside of here. So I'm going to keep this one really tight this week with regard to the CAD JPY. Okay, so we're just going to cancel this off again, remove all the drawings, and I'm just going to say, right, that slight pullback there, I'm actually going to keep this, like I say, really tight this week. I want to say this is my 4-hour bull zone. And we're going to see it right up on the top end. This here would be my bear zone. Okay. Now I'm still going to look to the left. Still going to look to the left on this. So that's the top end. Let's see where the price is. So as we break on here, we're being tested into these areas here. There is potential for another bear zone. Okay. And that area would be around about there. So I will mark this out. And then what I'll do is I'll decide between the two, what am I going to look for? Will it be this top end bear zone or will it be the bottom? So we'll just mark this bit out. Bearing in mind, obviously, we've got the trend. We've got the trend channel coming up, okay? And you basically got that trend channel there. So I think we could be coming up into this area. So therefore, I'm going to take this one out and I'm going to change it to this one. And I'm just going to get rid of these trend channel lines. Okay, so my next step from here is pretty simple. I would take an annotation. Okay, I'd come back into the Discord, and from there, I would generally reset what is in here. So that's my zone alerts reset for this week. We are the CAD JPY, so we'll come into 4-hour zones. Okay, we'll look for the CAD JPY. Start at the top. So again, I'm just going to grab the notation of this, place it into here. Okay, so you notice we've got bull zone where the zones are and the bear zones. So I'm just basically going to come in here. I'm going to right click and copy that price. I come back into here, and this is given a notation to the guys in the Discord. So if they are following along with us, they can actually mark these zones out as well. Okay, so I'm just marking these out, and then I go to the bottom of the bear zone, copy that price. Get rid of this. Copy that price. I'll go to the top of the bear zone. Copy that price. Okay. And then I come into the upload part, and then I'll add that CAD JPY. Okay. So that's that zone done. I can then come into this one. I can reset that and delete it. Okay. Because what it means is I've now got a new zone set. I just put in some emojis. So if the guys are looking at it, they can click on it and it tells me that they've come in and they've maybe looked at the zones. Okay. So the next step from there is to set an alert. Okay. So I can come into my alert system and I'll pick out a 4-hour sell. Okay. Let's have a look. Log. Alerts 4-hour sell. And I'll pick out a 4-hour buy. Okay, and the reason I do this is it's because I'm taking a JSON message. So first of all, I want to come in here and I want to get this. This is a webhook. Okay, and the webhook is basically it's a creation of a link that will send a message into my Discord. In turn, we'll send it into this area here with the zone alert. Okay, very simple process. So we're going to right click in here and we're going to add an alert. Okay, so we're going to go to this here and we're just going to click that webhook there. Okay, at the same time, we're looking for a buy. Okay, so we're looking for a buy position. So yes, this says euro odd, but we're just going to copy this into here. And what we're doing is we're changing this bit to CAD JPY. This here is a JSON message. So when the link gets sent to my Discord, it sends this. Just bear with me, guys. I've got someone at the door. Sorry about that, just a delivery. So we've got the CAD JPY now put in here. Now I'll do that and I'll put the alert name. So this here is what we call a JSON. And it's a line of code. So when the alert goes off, it pings it to that webhook, which in turn sends it to here for the community. So we create that. Okay. I can now get rid of that. I can then go into the JSON or the webhook, get the JSON message, and then I can set an alert into here. Now, the reason I pick just inside of the zone, okay, because the volume inside of the order block zone, okay, it's not very big in fairness, even though it's 4 hours. So there's a certain pattern structure that I will look at, okay, and that pattern structure is part of the system that we trade. Okay, so for some reason, I'm not getting able to set my zone on this. So add an alert. Why is this happening? I'll come into the logs. There we are. An error alerts while saving. Please try again. Right, so the CAD create an alert. For some reason, it isn't saving, so there must be an error with the website at the minute. Add an alert again. Right, I think I may have to come back to this to try and set that alert. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. So again, what I can do with that, I come back into here. I'm going to minimize this and put this up to this area here. The Euro GBP, I'm going to leave to run because I think we'll get to this area. So it'll be a 3.34 going into next week. So with that in mind, I can now come into the setup here, okay, and look at this area here. Add an alert. Is it going to add it? But I don't know why the error is. Just going to copy settings, message, create. Right, so it's not adding that on there. I'll have to do that a bit later. So we're just going to come down onto the 4 hour. We're on the 4 hour time frame. Okay, we're just going to look at some of these other systems. So we're pretty good with this. The Euro cards. We very nearly tapped into this last week. Euro USD again. I don't have an alert set on here, so I can right click. I don't think it's going to let me allow me to add alerts at the minute because there's something up with the website. So that's fair enough. But we are around about 50% between the zones. GBP odd again. We are pulling down lower highs, lower lows, stuck between the range here. The GBP cards again. We do have a draw liquidity on FEG here and an FVG here. Okay. The GBP USD, we are between zones, so we're starting to flag. We've made lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. We've come above liquidity here, and we're starting to go a little bit bullish with this little bit of range here. Okay, the GBP, JPY again. We have got a huge draw on liquidity, which was down here at the start of the week, a couple of weeks ago, and we started to fill this gap in. We've broken the lower high here, okay, which you can see from this lower high across to here. We've swept that. We've come back down, double bottomed here. Price to me is now going to want to come and tap into this next week at some stage. USD card, again, we're between zones. USD JPY, again, we are going to be tapping up into this higher end. So all in all, we've got some really good zones going into next week, okay? We work upon a 4 hour zone, which we normally generally get, excuse me, we normally generally get two on average will get triggered, okay? On a good week, we'll get 7 or 8, okay? So what I'm getting at is you've got to learn to be disciplined and not rush into a trade, because back in the day when I first started, I always wanted to be at the charts. I always wanted to get in on that trade. Fast forward 10 years later, I began to understand, set your points of interest, set your areas, learn particular structure with patterns and liquidity and where the draw on liquidity is. When the price comes into those areas, then and only then do you want to be looking for your A plus setup, quality setup. And this is all done with the naked chart. There's no need for silly scanners or things like that to tell you that this is red, this is blue, this is a certain number on a system. It's basic liquidity, basic price action, and basic charting. Okay, guys? So that's it for this week. I mean, we've got the fire swings as well, which is on the weekly, the daily, and the monthly, but we don't need to change any of those zones this week. So it's short and sweet this week. That's where I'm at. midweek for the guys inside of the Discord community. I will be running through what I do on a day-to-day basis. Anytime a setup comes in, I do a full analytical approach with videos. But on the fire zones from last week, from what I shared and what was called, there was a good possibility of nearly 5.11%. Okay, you don't have to get them all, even if you get a small portion of what that brings to the table. Okay, but for now, I'll catch us all later. Mr. Forex Fire out.